Well, hello everybody. This is Don with the Vlog of Many Things, and with me are my esteemed, and I use that with a capital E, guests. With me this evening, to my right is,
I lost track when you said esteemed.
I know,
I'm like, what? In this room? 10 card, folks.
down below me,
This is Steve.
and I don't mean that literally. It kind of rhymed. Never mind.
It
And-
sounded like blow me, but
Yeah,
yes.
it sounded like, and you are.
Muted.
Can hear you.
Tom, we
It's
can't hear
from
you.
Todd.
She cut your mic
Yeah,
off,
Tom.
didn't she? There you go. All right. Thaddeus, how you doing, my friend? Mr. Gunn, how you doing? The Zatron. Zatron says, well, whether it is or not, the recent terror shenanigans should convince you to buy a 10-year supply of filament now if you're into 3D printing.
I have a
don't need to worry
question
about
based
that.
off of that.
Yep, I got tons of 3D filament. Mr. Veralt, what is your question?
When you buy up a huge supply of filament,
Yeah.
does it age well? Because when I originally bought a 3D printer, I bought like 6 rolls of filament,
Yep.
and somebody warned me and says, "Oh yes, you better use it all now
Nope.
because it
Nope.
doesn't age well."
Okay, the key to 3D filament is this, and this usually goes to one of the two primary kinds. What's called PLA or ABS. Okay.
I think I had PLA.
Yeah, that's 99% of the times what people buy and use. That's what I use, PLA mostly. The only thing you have to be careful about is it's good to keep it in a steady temperature environment. It's not good to like have it like really hot then cold and hot then cold because it becomes brittle. But
Okay.
if you have it in a very, very, whether it be hot or cold, as long as it's steady in that temperature, filament will last you a year or two even. And on top of that, you really shouldn't, if you're buying a ton of filament, you're probably buying it because you use it a lot, so you shouldn't have it around anyways.
I was
So-
intending to use it a lot, but I just couldn't get that 3D printer to work, and so in the end, I
Let me
ended up
guess, leveling, right?
Yeah, I couldn't get the nozzle would clog. I just had a lot of problems with it, and in the end, I sold it to a guy.
Your
Get somebody-
temperature was off. You didn't have your leveling done right.
Yeah.
Mr. Gunn says depends on the type of plastic. It can. The plastics though are getting more stable now. Even the PLA now is getting more stable. And then Mr. Gunn says, "Howdy, David boy." So.
Now, I also hear, and maybe you can enlighten me, Don, that there are different quality grades of the plastic, and that there's like one grade that you can get, and it's really smooths out you don't get all those lines.
Well, the lines are based upon whenever you're doing 3D printing, the lines are based upon your layer height. Okay, layer height and speed. You can set your layer height really, really thin, which will give you less lines, but it takes much longer to print it. So if you're doing something like, as an example, my pulse rifles are printed at a very, very thin layer height, but it takes a long time to print them.
Right.
And it's like when you look at Jim Wampler's stuff, Jim Wampler is another one who he will print not using resin. He'll use PLA or ABS, usually PLA. But when you look at his 3D minis, you'll swear they're resin. Well, he's using a very, very fine layer height. So yes, plus the type of printer you buy can matter too.
Yeah.
Mr. Gunn, or excuse me, Fugly says I prefer PLA plus ABS sucks. Don't open the wrap until you already use it. Okay, Fugly, real quick. Let me go to chat here real quick. Fugly brings because we're going to be talking a lot about 3D printing tonight, guys. Fugly brings up a very, very good point here. Fugly says, don't open the wrap until you're ready to use it. Okay, the problem with ABS is, in Fugly, the newer ABS, especially by Creality, they have a new formula for it. It used to be ABS when it was exposed to oxygen. it could become brittle after about a month. It didn't do well. Now with the way PL or with ABS has a much longer shelf life. I actually use a new form of ABS through Creality, and it's really good stuff. So yes, they're changing. They're kind of like how do I want to put this? They're kind of growing with the times. They're realizing their shortfalls and everything.
It's kind of like Reaper Minis when they first came out with Reaper Bones, and they were white and they were bendy, and you were like, I don't know if I like these. They're too bendy. They kind of suck. And then they came out with Reaper Bones Black.
Yes.
And I was like, ooh, now this will take paint well, and I can add these to my collection.
Yeah, and you're right. And Reaper did that. And the reason why they did Reaper Black was because they could have made it white like Reaper Bones was, but they wanted to differentiate to let you know it's better quality. So it's that type of thing. And then Mr. Gunn says quality and grade are two different things. That's very, very true. But the difference between PLA and ABS when you're printing for commercial use, just let people know, if you're going to do minis, you want to use ABS. If you're doing minis, and it's going to sound really bad, and I want to get into this later, is do not use resin for minis. It's the worst shit in the world you can use. I'm going to give feedback and pushback, but I'm going to explain myself why later. Before we get in the core subject, Mr. Tenkar, you are usually the news guru.
Me?
What is anything latest? Well, come on, you're the bartender in the OSR, my friend. You got your finger on the pulse of about everything.
There's a little bit of a pulse, maybe.
So anything new in news lately?
Um,
John Peck has an interesting question. I'll get that in a minute. Go ahead, Eric.
I would have to say that Goodman Games, which did a very large step on their own private member, have done a pretty good recovery from
Yes, they did.
stepping on their pecker. And listen, no matter how you look at it, self-inflicted wounds are always the ones that you laugh at, right? Or those are the ones that make you smile.
Oh,
I just laughed at you saying woodpecker or slamming your codpiece on the anvil.
Well, I remember that one time I shot myself in the balls. I laughed for days after that. Eric's right.
Listen, it's like when you're practicing close combat shooting at the range in the NYPD, and you're using the old stanchions, and somebody hits that pointed stanchion right on the point, and the bullet bounces back and hits them in the pants leg. Doesn't go through, but they go down, and everybody just first you go, oh, and then you laugh, right? You laugh your asses off because it could have been so much worse. Honestly, with Goodman Games, this could have been so much worse. And listen, there are still people. If you
they recovered very well, I'll give them that.
Right, if you go to social media, there are still people going, I can't support a company that's going to support a Holocaust denier. That was earlier today in the Goodman Games fan place on Facebook. You're going to have that. But again, it could have been so much worse. And I do believe that Joe Goodman had a plan. He just pushed it aside in excitement.
I will say something. I have lost family in Treblinka. Okay, so the Holocaust in my family is a real thing. And you know what? Lighten the fuck up, everybody, okay?
Right.
All right. Come on.
I got you. And that's, again, that is honestly what a lot of this comes down to, right? And everybody, by the way, people that are canceling their backer kit orders are not canceling their backer kit orders because it's a moral decision. They're doing it so they can announce their departure.
I am part of something.
I am part of something. I am canceling my order, and I am going to post this in your fan group.
That's right, because I'm making a stance. What for? I have no clue, but I'm making a stance.
If you were doing this for a simple moral reason, your own morals, you would do it without announcing it. Maybe you tell your friends, but you're not going to try to tell a whole look. Sorry, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, and when you pull that shit,
Yes.
you're being a
It's just attention grabbing.
yes.
Yes.
You're being a word that I can't use because if I use it and it runs with a baseball term, which I can't even say,
We're not,
and
Eric, we're
YouTube
not
will
monetized.
will
Okay,
freak out.
we've been kind of demonetized for. Let me real quickly answer this question because we got a lot of really cool comments. Okay, we can move on.
Sure.
John Peck asked, "How are the fumes with new filaments?" John, PLA ABS, like the coil filament, real filament, does not have really any smell that's discernible. It is usually with resin, and they are coming out now with water-based resins that have a very low smell. I personally use normal resin. In fact, the resin I use is a new ABS mix, and I really am not bothered by the smell. Some people are horribly bothered, but
Do they have
regular
that
filament
new
has no
cannabis
smell.
mix over there in your state for this, so you can.
What's that?
Did it have the cannabis mix in the filament that you
I
can
would
have?
not be surprised if someone comes out with that shit.
Yeah,
Now,
Seriously.
question though, how
Yeah.
how is it possible to have a water-based resin? That doesn't make sense to me.
It is a new stuff that Elegoo came. Elegoo is the one who started, and Creality's jumping on the bandwagon. It is water based. Instead of, I think what they're doing is I think they're replacing one of the harsh chemicals with water that they can do.
Oh,
The smell is much, much lower. I have printed on the water-based stuff as a test the same couple of figures along with regular. I did the same type of printing, the same layer height, same everything. I can't tell the difference. So very, very good stuff. Fiata says, I've never had a problem with the resin a friend of mine is using as long as you prime it and keep it away from sunlight. It doesn't get ultra brittle, but it's always more brittle than plastic. Okay, real quick. Fiatus, my friend, thank you for bringing that up. One of the biggest problems that you run into is the fact that how do you cure resin? By UV light. And they're running into this with the model building groups that do prop making heavily because people are selling resin-based 3D models, which are beautiful. But the problem is, even with paint, UV light can get through it still. It slows it down a lot. But the problem that you run into is people are having like models sitting like I have my Y-Wing, which is not resin as in 3D printed resin. It's the pourable resin. Okay. My wife, being the wonderful, gorgeous woman that she is, allows me to have my studio scale models in the living room. I hit a home run with her, guys. So that stuff does not get brittle, but I have had models printed in resin, and they literally will, after a year or two, even painted, you go pick them up, they start snapping and getting brittle. So yeah, it looks good. It's cheap. It's inexpensive, but it ain't worth it to me. Fugly says fumes have never been a problem. They don't bug me. They don't. Some people, it's like cilantro. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Dias says, I do like the degrees of detail you can get. Yeah, you can get hyper detailed with resin. That's very, very true. And it's great to utilize for certain things. What I'm waiting for is, and sooner or later, someone's going to be smart enough to come out with it, is I want to see someone do a complete UV blocking primer. That would be a game changer. That'd be a game changer.
Okay.
For
why not just fix the resin that it's printed with and just take that vulnerability out?
Well, the problem is there is no way to take it out because that's how you cure resin is via UV light. No matter whether it's water based or not, it's ultraviolet light. Like I have, in fact, I'm going to be doing some videos now. We're in New Digs. You're going to see what a commercial resin printer looks like and how you take those figures out and you put them in a revolving tray UV light that turns, and it's UV light, and it actually cures your stuff very quickly. So, Dieta says, Fugly, I'm not one with the printer, so no problem with fumes for me. Scott, my friend, the savior of WizardCon. Sorry, you're getting a shirt next year that says on the back. Just live with it. It's true.
Wait. Don't call him the savior of WizardCon because he'll start getting trolled by somebody from North Carolina.
True. You mean the Fuhrer wannabe?
Ugh.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, you married a chick with the last name Reich. It kind of fits. Mr. Gunn says, Don, ABS is fiddly, requires high heat both for the bed chamber as well as for very good. ABS does require a higher heat. Yes, it does. I am not bothered by the fumes, but again, like with cilantro, anybody here like cilantro?
A little bit.
To me, it tastes like nasty soap. I cannot stomach even the most sliced bit of it in anything.
Tammy hates cilantro.
Yeah. I go to an Indian restaurant. They just know me now at the local place. They're like, no cilantro. I'm like, yeah, no cilantro. So,
That's your name.
Yeah, no cilantro.
No cilantro, man.
When they go back to the kitchen, that asshole's out there, the one who fucks up our cooking. Okay.
Extra cilantro.
Yeah. Mr. Gunn says, so Goodman Games farted in the elevator. Meh. Yeah, they did. Thea says, virtue signaling is never acceptable. It's akin to hypocrisy. I agree with that.
Which is
Chubby
worse?
Funster.
Farting in the elevator or farting in church?
Very true. Chubby, welcome to the show, my friend. He says, I am working on a model of Eric that I can use to print a life-size statue for a neighborhood gazebo.
All right, so I got
Hold
something
on.
for Greg.
I'm adding.
So Fugly did that and shared it with me yesterday. First time we're putting it up there. So there you go, Greg. If you want, you can base your model on that. That'll scare anybody out of your backyard.
I'll tell you what, if you want, I'll convert that to a 3D model for 3D printing. I would love to print like a I would love to print something like this.
Oh wow, okay.
This is called the Goddess of Role-Playing Games. This is going to be next year an award at WizardCon. It's going to be the main award for some lucky guy or gal, and that's basically it right there.
Nice.
Very cool. Well, I
Thank
don't
you.
think Fugly would have an issue. Fugly is making apparently a coloring book of people of me and people that I cast with. So you never know.
Hold on, guys. I'm trying to figure this out. I am like majorly screwing this up. How do I do this?
I guess you still got a share going. There we
Hold
go.
on. Let me stop the share. Ladies and gentlemen,
There we
There
go.
we go. Ah, you broke it again.
hold on. Leave me
There's a ghost in
alone.
the room.
There we go.
There we go.
There's a ghost, I tell you, a ghost with the
So, Eric, if you get a miniature, you'll be keeping up with Professor Dungeon Master because he's got that Deathbringer miniature that those people did up for him.
All right.
That you
Hold
can
on.
order.
Hold on a second. I got to stand up. I don't want to put my crotch in your face.
Trust me.
He's not wearing pants.
If I'm wearing pants. You don't want my crotch in your face.
Oh, come on. You don't want. Come on. It's got to be bigger than that, Eric.
No,
Oh, you're showing mini. Sorry about that.
there is a miniature of me
That's actually pretty cool.
that was actually done, and it was professionally painted. Trust me, it's
Nice.
not my paint job.
Very, 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 very nice.
Sweet.
That was done by a
Chubby
Kiwi.
Funster. Chubby Funster's a lot of plastic, but worth it. I tell you what, I think it'd be really cool to have like a life-size OSR bartender. Chubby Funster, do you hate children? Water-based latex. Chubby Funster says, no, I just find them annoying most of the time. I have 4 daughters. Trust me, they can be annoying at times. By the way, today, I'm just going to say a call out real quick. Today is my daughter Sarah's 19th birthday.
Yay.
That makes me an old fucker.
Yeah.
Oh, you were that before then.
Shut up, Steve.
Dude,
Or I'll have her come visit you.
at the end of the month, my son turns 32. Okay, so
Wow. My oldest daughter would have been 35 in December. Can you believe that? Damn,
Yeah.
35. John Peck says, if I could get a 3D printer, I'd probably grab a Bamboo Labs A1 Mini with a 2. My suggestion would go Elegoo. Elegoo is solidly, beautifully. They do auto leveling, do all kinds of stuff. If you're using ABS, you can do S-tone standoff to get smooth surfaces. Yes, you can. Absolutely. That's actually a really good idea. Zatrin says, what I'm hearing is that I should find someone that knows how to 3D print and do a business deal with them to print my minis and sculpts to silicons. You know what? I'll tell you what, Zatrin, and it's not even a deal you got to make with me. If you want me to do your printing, I have large formats. Like I can do 70 minis at a time on my resins. So if you want someone to work it, message me afterwards. I'll work a deal out with you, and it'll be fair. I'm not. I'm happy to help anyone who watches our channel out.
And
Um,
I don't know about where he lives, but here in Auburn, Maine, we've got the two guys. Their first names begin with D, and so it's D and D's
that's pretty cool.
hobby shop. And he's got 2 printer beds going, and so you can go in with a thumb drive and say, I want this one mini, and you can either pay for the whole printer bed, or he'll just insert it into the printer bed with everybody else's and then call you when it's printed, when he fills up the bed. And so he's got a couple different deals going, and he does 3D printing. And I just figure, I don't miss fiddling with the 3D printer. I just take my business to him because I want him to be there so I can go in
and he's local to you. That's great. Support your local guy.
Yeah.
Because like with Wizard Tower Publishing, one of the services we're going to offer is we're going to offer 3D printing services.
Yeah.
So we're going to basically try to take over. There was another 3D printing company that went belly up because they charged way too much. They wondered why. Engine Joe, welcome to the show. He says, I just ordered some miniatures from a fellow in Spain named Pablo, makes impeccable minis. Hope I'm not contributing to damaging his health for business. You know what? Everybody makes their own thing, but keep in mind one thing. It's like anything. If you like with 3D printing resin, just ventilate properly. You're fine. You're not hurting anybody, my friend.
Yeah.
Mr. Gunn says, snort, acetone, cough. Yeah. You can go ahead and do that. My wife is in the chat. I gotta be good now. Thanks, guys. Who advised me?
Yeah, he's been a naughty guy today.
Mr. Gunn, it can be problematic. Tina says you can have your Y-wing and living room until my Tiger tank is done. My wife likes the. My wife is a fan of German Tiger tanks. Not the Panther, not the Stuck. It's got to be a German Tiger tank, and I'm actually almost done with it. Don't worry, honey. I'll take care of it.
I don't know what Elk of Antioch is referring to.
We will get to it in a minute. I'm on my way down to it right now. Until today, I didn't know you could print with resin. Yes, you can. Elk Antioch says, good evening, all. Good evening. Engine Joe says, 3D resin printing, in my opinion, is not for amateurs. Like a professional welder or electrician, proper safety. I'll be honest with you. I disagree. I actually find resin printing far easier than filament printing, which is the coil roll stuff. Most people, like Tom was talking about even earlier, if you didn't see it, Engine Joe, he was talking about how he was having like issues with the melting and bubbling, getting all gooed up in the filament head. I find filament printing much more problematic than resin printing. TXG says, I bet you could use UV resistant paint as a primer. You can, but again, it just does not work well long term. Yurdite DM says, cilantro, I'm in Houston. More power. I wish I liked it. I just don't. Mr. Gunn says, of all the 3D printer mediums have their pros and cons, and it really depends on your use case as to applicability for your needs. It can, but also with 3D printing, guys, there's so many variables. What kind of filament you're using? I mean, there's like 6 different filaments now. Temperature. What is the temperature in your house or your offices? What is the humidity level? Huge thing people don't understand. Humidity can really affect, especially filament printing. Real quick, Scott Mulder says, I was hoping he was going to show the cons so I could communicate. Nice art at Fugly, yes. Zatran says, you sell art assets or anything? Yes, we're going to be selling a lot of art assets. Yurdite EM or DM says, keep the deer away. Elka Antioch says, nice. John Peck says, hopefully Goodman Games will realize the error of their ways. Sad to see them fall on their own sword. You know what? I want my opinion on my 3 compatriots here. Listen, I know that people like to be mad. I know that as a company, you have a level of standard that you have to meet that's higher than normal people because you are a company. but also people, anybody who does wrong, says wrong, or acts in a bad way, and they're man enough or woman enough to say, look, I made a mistake, I fucked up, I'm sorry, but that person deserves grace at that point.
Yeah, the people who refuse, they've screwed up, and they
Just
refuse
excuse me.
to fall on their sword, to do a mea culpa, to say my bad. I mean, even AI recently, I was arguing with it, and it basically said something to me that translated as my bad, and I was like, you son of a bitch, I can't believe AI just said my bad to me. But you know, it's those people who refuse to apologize that just becomes so super annoying in life. And
Yeah, well, some people are
they
just ego driven.
demonstrate their true character, though. What's that, Steve?
Yeah, they're ego driven. They just want something to be higher than something that they can be higher or feel higher than somebody else. Like, well, I have a higher moral ground than you do.
Yeah, and the thing is, nobody's tooting their horn here, but I have made mistakes in my life, big mistakes in my life, and I even have made videos on the Wizard Tower YouTube channel and said, listen, back then I did A, B, and C. I made a mistake. I'm embarrassed for what I did. I regret what I did. And it takes, and I'm not going to say balls, but it takes it's hard to get up there to say I was wrong, I messed up, because your natural response is you want to defend yourself. But on the same token as that, though, if I did not mess up, don't come and attack me, because I'm going to defend myself.
The situation with the Goodman Games Judges Guild thing, I have my cell phone, since this got announced a week and a half ago, however long this shit, I've been on the phone with more people than I have for any breaking news since the OGL fiasco.
Yeah.
All right. This has been that level of shite.
Yes.
I will say this. Goodman Games had a plan in place, and then in their excitement of their convention, jumped a couple of steps in their announcement and went to the big reveal without putting the grounding that many people expected and wanted, which they had prepared for. Just no plan survives Joe Goodman, apparently. I mean, Joe had a plan, but he just didn't go with it.
But
and that's why I call it self-inflicted.
That's right.
Now, do I think that the current plan that's in place, where the money's from now we go to Judges Guild, are going to go into an escrow account? I think that's awesome. The original
don't get me started on escrow accounts.
I know. Are the original backers going to get made whole, or at least partially whole? Yes. Are they going to be taken care of on some of it within the new backer kit by having some kind of a discount? And my understanding is yes. So it's the best results of a self-inflicted wound. All right? Mm-hmm. That's how I'm putting it. Now, you could still be mad at Joe for this. Yeah. For him bending the knee, or for him doing this in the first place. I think it's time to move on.
Yep.
That's just me.
Yep. And real quick, Fugly looked at that and just popped off a comment to me that says, that's a Hero Forge model. Fugly, you're right. But you know what the difference is? I paid the $50 figure licensing fee to be able to sell that commercially. And there's the difference. It is Hero Forge lets you license the figures that you create. That's a figure I can create. It costs $50 a figure. Guess what I did for convenience? I know the STLs will print correctly, and I can design a custom way I want it. I paid them their licensing fee, which was the right thing to do. And guess what? I didn't have to do that, because I could have just fucked them over and did it. But I chose to do the right thing. And when someone gets my game that's going to have, by the way, one of those figures in it, because I did it also for D20 Delving. There is a placard in there that has all the individual licensing fees, so people know I did the right thing as a game company and I purchased the commercial license. Why? Because that's what freaking integrity is, people. Period. I'm big on that because it annoys me when people steal it from other people. And if I would have not paid the licensing fee on that, yeah, they're a big company. Yeah, they could afford it. No, it's the right thing to do. And sorry, call it bragging, touting your horn, or whatever, but it's the right thing to freaking do, and I did the right thing.
Okay, what do you
So,
Joe, sorry.
What's that?
I'm sorry, I was doing the South Park Integrity Farms.
Well, and also, I won't get into details, but especially Tom and Eric know about this. I had a chance to screw a guy over on a Dragon issue #1, and I chose not to do it.
Witness.
He didn't know what I had. He gave it to me. He did not know what he had. He gave it to me for a very, very cheap price, and I wouldn't do it. I had to make it right with him. I offered him either the magazine back or give him a portion of the sales of the magazine. And he took a portion of the sales of the magazine.
All right.
Yeah. Show me the money.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, you do the right thing, and you do the right thing, and it visits you back because people go, "Oh, he will do the right thing."
Mhm.
Indian Joe says cilantro is nasty herb. They used to put it in Mexican mix for 7-layer burrito Taco Bell. Yeah, I don't like it. Foogly says, I've got a Wizard Tower page going too. What do you mean, Foogly? I'm really curious about that. You got a Wizard Tower page going too. Explain it,
He's
please.
got
He's probably got your page open on his browser.
Because I'll share it if you're doing something.
I think with Foogly, because Foogly's always drawing, he's got a page with Don.
That'd be really cool. Foogly, if you do that, with your permission, I would love to color it and put it like color it. And on top of that, I'd love to do a 3D figure, but let me know if I have permission to do that if you ever do it. I'm honored. Thank you very much. And I know what you're doing. You're making a semi-mocking page, and I take that as a compliment. If I can get mocked by Foogly,
I'll take the
mock. John Peck says a coloring book. Maybe you guys can sell it online. You know what? Eric, aren't you? Wait a minute. What? Isn't that part of a comic book series for you?
No, Foogly is doing this. He may do a tavern comic right now. It's as inspiration hits him, but gotcha. It's been pretty cool stuff, man.
Okay, the Elkie Antioch says I missed it. What evil did Goodman Games birth into the world? Okay, real quick, Eric, can you briefly explain this?
Okay, let me do this in like 30 seconds. So back in 2014, the Judges Guild did a Kickstarter for City State of the Principal Overlord for their bullshit system and Pathfinder, both of which don't exist anymore. But in any case, they stopped updating this Kickstarter 5 years ago. Unfulfilled, $85,000, nearly 1,000 backers. Fast forward to a week and a half ago. I am going to run out of time. But Goodman Games.
No. I meant 85 grand.
Yeah, 85 grand. Oh, by the way, the money was not mismanaged by Bob Jr. It was mismanaged by Bob III, who was the project manager.
Yeah.
So let's get that straight. Goodman Games likely got a license for this before Bob Jr. and his son, the third, went on social media and did every ism and ist and bad thing on social media that you can possibly say about religions and people and races. Oh my! Oh, and sexes. Sorry, genders.
Did he? I didn't see that. Did he really?
Yeah. And so
what a cock knocker.
So he lost an arbitration to Frog Eye Games for an amount that I cannot disclose. And Goodman had to make a public announcement with Janelle. And fast forward to today, these days, they're going to do a crowdfunding for CSIO, for DCC and 5e, and a classic reprint.
DCC got pulled into this.
Well, because it's going to be games. They're going to do a DCC
Yeah,
version.
true. Yeah.
And essentially what's going to happen is that the Judges Guild was supposed to get 10% of the sales. That 10% is now going to be going to pay back the original backers, who for 5 years, by the way, this is where I have a huge problem with Judges Guild. We've offered refunds if you followed Judges Guild and found them on social media, or somebody happened to hear about it and told you, hey, go to the back door, knock 3 times on the ceiling, and tell them you want a refund, and you'll get put on a list. There was never an update on the actual Kickstarter for 5 years until last week. Where all
If they would have put the fucking thing, Eric, into escrow, and I'm being serious, this is why you have escrow, because then there are no problems.
Well, there still would have been problems on this one.
Oh, okay.
There still would have been problems in this one because they did
Go ahead
miniatures.
then. Sorry for interrupting.
They did miniatures and fulfilled the miniatures first, and they underestimated the cost to create the miniatures. So already they were going out of budget, and then monies to pay for, I don't know, layout artists were being paid to, I believe, Bob III to teach himself layout. So there were just a lot of.
Are you joking? No, you're not. Never mind.
I'll tell you more later. But this is the basics that I understand from the time. So I was getting it from the horse's mouth. So there's a lot of baggage with this project. And for 5 years, not updating, yet saying we're giving out refunds, you know about it. If you're not announcing it through Kickstarter, you're not getting 90% of your audience. And that's the reason why you didn't update it through Kickstarter. You don't want to have to pay it back. Sorry, not sorry. I said it.
Well,
there you go. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it again today. It's exhausting to get that kind of a catch up.
Jeez, man. I mean, talk about packing 5 gallons of shit in a 3-gallon bucket.
Oh my God. You should have lived it at the time, because I was getting it from the horse's mouth as to what was going on with the project, and it was
not pretty.
Not pretty.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Gunn makes an interesting point. He says, Engine Joe, exactly. All these technologies come down in price over time. Look how fast they have changed, too, from LPs to tape to CDs to MP3 and P4 files. I will give another prime example. That is massively high in terabyte. And I remember my first 20 megabyte hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
20 megabyte hard drive. I think back in the day, I think I used my income tax refund for it. I think I paid like $2,000 for it.
Probably.
And I was the ass kicker on the block. I was like, I got a 20 megabyte hard drive. And people are like, how are you ever going to fill it? I'm like, I don't know.
All this ASCII porn will do it. Don't worry about it.
Well, you remember the pictures of the old IBM mainframe hard drive? It was like 5 megabytes, and this thing was as big as a dishwasher.
Steve, is that called the mainframe hard drive? Is that your code word for that shit that you download from the internet?
Oh, har. Yeah, but I mean, when I was in college in mid 90s, I think it was they rolled out an old hard drive, and I kid you not, it looked like one of those warp drives off of the Star Trek shuttlecraft, and it was only 9 gig.
Yeah, my 20 megabyte hard drive was like a shoebox. But by the way, Wizard Time is in the house. Mark, my friend, hello. Eric, are we going on your show tomorrow night?
Yes, you are.
Holy cow, I got to wear clean underwear 2 nights in a row.
No, you don't. First off, we don't have smell-o-vision, so you're fine.
Oh,
and secondly, keep the camera from like where you got it right now. You could even go. You could even roll your belly up. We'd never know.
Really?
We never know, man. Don't worry about it.
Engine Joe says, I like Ted Nugent as a guitar player. I could care less about his politics. Now said, Shakespeare said, if every man got what he deserved, no one would be spared a whipping. Very, very true. Mr. Gunn says, fun fact, coriander and cilantro are the same plant. Yes, they are, but one is the seed, one is the leaf. Mr. Gunn
I
says,
like them both.
I like coriander. I love it. Injun Joe, as Clint Eastwood said, Unforgiven, we all deserve it, kid. Yep. John Peck says, ethics and integrity in business is the winning strategy. I honestly believe that. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite sayings is, integrity is not what you do when people are looking. Integrity is doing the right thing when people are not looking.
Amen.
I really believe
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you're not there to fluff your own feathers. You're there to do the right thing.
And
That's
that's the problem with all the virtue signaling that goes on is that, and if
You're right.
I went to seminary, so I'm going to quote the Bible right now. One of the things that Jesus taught, he says, look, when you're giving charity, you're giving out money, don't let the right hand know what the left hand is doing. Because if you do it for show, you got your reward already. And when these people are showing, look how virtuous I am because I don't, they got their reward. They're not getting any, they're a modern Pharisee is what they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're the modern Pharisees.
I agree.
And, so it's all this virtue. Listen, just do what you got to do. Don't put your morality out there. Just keep it quiet. Be a good person.
100%.
Don't throw beer cans on my lawn, and I'll be cool with you.
Fugly says something very interesting here, and I will have a follow up with this later. Is Fugly says, I like Hero Forge, but I think Titancraft's license is easier. First of all, I have never heard of Titancraft. I'm going to look them up now tonight. I am curious, Fugly, on Titancraft, and the reason I'm curious is I want to know what is their license, and along with what is their license is
it cheaper?
Well, I believe it or not, I really don't care about price as long as you get your value. What I worry about is the 3D minis. Are they good? Can you customize them like you can in Hero Forge? And on top of that, how do they print? That's my big thing. At Don, he's got integrity. You know what? I'm not perfect. I try. It is what it is. I just try. Injun Joe says integrity, a rare trait among men these days. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I think it's out there more than we think. The problem is the Justins of this world make it appear like it's a rare thing. And trust me, these three men I'm on the screen with here, I know that we all differ politically and sometimes even on some social issues, but the integrity of the three men on this video screen with me right now is bar none, second to none. I stand by any of them any day of the week, and I mean
well, here's something else to consider too when you're looking at the integrity of a person or business. Look at how they treat their employees, because one of the things a friend of mine taught me years ago is the simple formula to success in any business is take care of your employees first, take care of your customers second, and everything else will take care of itself. And I never once saw that fail.
Well, you were with me with Two Moon.
I like a boss who does not micromanage.
And that's me. I hate micromanaging people because you know what? If I hire Tom Verrill to be my layout specialist, Tom, you know what the work is. Contact the fucking customers, do the damn work the best you can, and guess what? It all works out in the end. And you know what? I will even buy you hot dogs and beer on Fridays. Steve knows that.
Yeah.
Not that Steve drank beer, but he ate the freaking hot dogs.
I recently had a guy tell me, I was going to him with it. I'm having an issue with this situation, and I brought it to him, and he was like, "You do what I tell you to do, or I'll find someone else." They were shorthanded, desperate for, and they were like rolled out the welcome wagon when I showed up. So I'm like, you ain't getting nobody to replace me. And you can say that to me if I'm 18, 19, 20 years old, but I'm in my 50s.
I'm part too old for that bullshit, pal.
So I transferred and within the company. And then he was like, well, I could have given you a good reference if you would if I had known you were transferring. And I'm like, how about you give me a good reference because I show up all the time, and I'm a good doobie, and all the parents like me, and all the kids like me, and
How about this? How about you be? I'm grateful for the job. Thank you very much. But how about you be grateful for me for being a good employee? And that's the problem. And I learned this with my publishing company. And folks, anybody looking to hire somebody, you better listen to these words. These are gospel. You know what? Yes, you sign the paychecks and you pay the people. But you know what? Without those people, you ain't jack shit, and your company ain't doing nothing.
I've always judged my coworkers by, do you make my job harder for me or do you make my job easier for me?
Yep.
And, when I walk into work and I see A-team players, I'm like, all right, we're going to have a good day. You walk into work and it's all B-team, and I'm like, oh, God, how do I safeguard myself today?
Exactly.
That's the way to. I don't care about your politics. Don't care about your gender. Don't care about your orientation. Do you make my job harder for me? That's the most important thing.
And Scott Mulder, who, by the way, works in security. I'm not saying anything out of school here. Scott actually supervises like 100 people. He's like big time management overall. He says, I purchase the licensing fees on my 3D model licenses too, so I have good conscience that I own the rights to use as I need. There's another thing. Do you have a conscience? Because I'll tell you what, people can believe me all they want. I couldn't fuck anybody over and live with it. It bothers me too much. I could have really made a lot of money off this magazine, and I just can't. It's not. I'm not touting my horn. It's just a fact. Injun Joe. Oh, sorry. Mr. Gunn says Injun Joe says every generation since the Garden of Eden. LOL. Injun Joe says the Dragonlance minis aren't endorsed by WotC. They are technically bootleg. And if Peter Grant ran WotC and WotC was Led Zeppelin, thankfully it's from Spain. We are actually at the new WizardCon going to have the individual who developed the new Dragonlance campaign setting. He's going to be at WizardCon this next year. So New Joe says, yeah, 3 gigs now fit on a stick. 3 gigs? Heck, man, I can fit a terabyte on a stick now.
Have you seen the new micro SD cards? They're like itty bitty like this, and they're like 1 terabyte. And they said they're supposed to have a 4 terabyte really soon.
That's crazy to me. The storage capacity now we're running into.
Yeah, and you used to have like 64 kilobytes on something like this, Yeah.
Mark Hunt says Wizard Time. And I'm going to tell you another thing. You talk about integrity, okay? That man right there, Mark Hunt, that guy's got integrity. And I'm not joking. I'm not just kissing his ass. I'm not just sighing it. No, Mark Hunt's got integrity. That man says what he means, and he does what he says he's going to do. And if he tells you he's going to do it, you can bet on it and take it to the bank. He's going to do exactly what he is. Injun Joe says Tracy Hickman. No, it's another individual. I'll get to that in a few minutes. Injun Joe says, remember the zip drive with zip disks? Oh, man. You guys remember those?
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, because we're old, man.
Floppy disks. I remember floppy disks.
Memory.
Yeah. Mark Hunt says, I'm from the time of cassette tapes and 64 kilobyte.
I remember those.
Are we all that old, guys? Seriously? Okay, real quick. We just got to admit it. Age check. I'm 57.
53.
57.
I have been 49.
Well, how old are you? How old are you?
I'm 59.
Okay. So, basically, Tom is the old fart in the room.
58. 58. Tammy tells me I'm 58. Okay. I can't keep it straight.
Well, you know what? We're what we call seasoned professionals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seasoned
professionals. I could say to you guys, in a situation, I could say 3-hour tour. You know what I'm referencing.
Oh, yeah.
You have no idea. Or I could say, meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice, you all know what I'm saying.
By the way, Joe did not know how Pharisees was spelled. Mr. Gunn says, to your storage.
Activate.
Mr. Gunn says, to your storage comments, some old tech sticks around. For instance, tape storage is what companies use for a long-term backup because it's dirt cheap. 18 terabyte, 45 terabyte compressed storage for US $95. Wow, that's just I can't.
Okay, this is gonna blow your mind. They said it was supposed to be later this year that they had the 2 terabytes out, and SanDisk already has its first 2 terabyte micro SD card.
Oof.
I just sent you the link on that, Don.
Thank you. Not that I'll use it.
Yeah, but it's just the fact that they've
No,
released that. And
I am going to use it, Steve. I'm being coy. Okay. Absolutely.
like
Hell yeah.
Dr. McCoy.
Fugly says Hero Forge charges per design imposed. Titancraft charges by asset. Really? I got to look into Titancraft. Thank you, Fugly, very much.
Hey, Rob. Rob
Mr.
Conley in the
Gunn,
house.
many knows is Mr. Titancraft family. Real quick, we're getting to it. That's true, Engine Joe. You're right.
Yeah.
Mr. Gunn, down on my guide, you socialist. How dare you challenge the primacy of the boss's right? I'm a rebel without a cause. Engine Joe, Tracy Hickman, no. Don, is the job creators who allow you to eat? It is, actually. John Peck says Dragonlance is one of my favorite D&D settings. Man, I'll tell you what. I remember the series. Man, just Autumns of Dragon. Oh my God, I just love that series. I love Dragonlance. They now have quantum computing. Not that I ever will. Hell no. 63, Dave Thompson. Mark is 57. Mr. Gunn is 57. What the hell is it with the 50s? We're all seasoned. See, that's the thing. Eric, Tom, Steve, we're not old farts, you see? We're just like developed.
Yeah, we're not old farts, we're fresh ones.
Season.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's the new Middle Ages.
And as David Thompson says, and I use the sound effects, get off my lawn. Engine Joe says, the old commercial with the guy jumping into a swimming pool, zip it, I'm 42. Oh, you're a youngin'. Mr. Gunn, get off my lawn, you punks. I used to stack you guys up like cordwood in Korea. Anyone care to do the movie on that one?
That sounds like a Dirty Harry movie.
I used to stack you both. I'm going to use a bad word here. I used to stack you gooks up like cordwood on the hill when I was in Korea.
Is that the last one where he used every racial epithet? But
You talk about who? Clint Eastwood?
yeah,
Yep, that's the last movie he made before he became senile.
Aw.
So Thaddeus says, y'all are old. Yeah, we are, and I am happily old. David Thompson says, my first computer I used had core storage. Nice. Fugly says, you're what we all call youngins. Rob Conley, my friend, how you doing, buddy? He says, hey, folks. Rob, please, are you? Oh, by the way, real quick. Rob Conley is coming to WizardCon. I hope he brings his beautiful wife. She was very fun to have there, even though she was tied up with a vehicle. When I met her, she was
she's
a
awesome.
wonderful woman to talk to. And Tina, by the way, guys, going to warn you right now, wants to have kind of like a woman's night. So we're going to get rid of the women for an evening. And Tina's
sounds
going
like
to
a plan. Yes, Mr. Gunn, Gran Torino, where every racial epithet is muttered but one.
Flint Fireforge. Hey, Don, did you get my resume? Yes, you did. And you're getting a response this weekend. What I'm going to do is I had several come in. One of them literally said that he's applying for, and I want to give a direct quote here. I won't forget the quote because it's so easy. Go fuck yourself, scammer. That was what he was applying for. So I think I know who it was, but I'm guessing.
Jealous people.
Remember to put your answer in the form of a question.
And it can't be on a bankruptcy form.
Oh, what is a loser?
Loser. Rob Conley says, hey, the Prince of Pid has entered the room. Dave Thompson says, when 2 terabyte SD card fails and they don't seem reliable to begin with, there will be tears. That's why I double back up. I have 2 backups on everything. I have actually technically 3. I have my computer. I have my backup, which will be this, and then I have an auto backup to another one. So in case one goes bad, I always have some type of backup. I try at least. Mr. Gunn says, Rob Conley, what's up, buddy? John Peck says, I'm from a time of Commodore 64 BBS and 3000 baud modems. Does anyone remember when we all got, and I'm going to use a crude term here, but everybody got the massive hard-on because the 28.8 baud modem came out?
Oh God! What?
Well, if it makes you feel old, our very first one was a 150 baud acoustic modem where you just like called the phone number, put it on the thing, and off you went.
Yep, Eric, were you going to show us something?
No. I
Okay.
adjusted my chair, but I remember, going from like the 14.4 to the 28.8 to the 53.
Oh, 56K. Heck yeah.
56, but it really wasn't 56. It was really
It was like
54,
52.
But
Yep.
oh my God, lightning speed. And
I remember when I went ahead and I never forget this, is when I had a computer and my buddy called me up one day on a landline, no cell phone, with the cord,
Right.
The old ways. Actually called me up and said, hey, Don, guess what I picked up today? And I was like, what's that, Lance? And he was like, I got a huge, massive computer, and guess how much RAM it has? I was like, what? He goes, this is going to blow your mind, Don. 1 gigabyte.
bum, bum, bum.
I was like, no way.
I had a 286 Neko laptop with monochrome screen, and I thought that was the bomb.
Yeah.
And I so desperately wanted to play the game Civilization 1 on it that I'd have to take out the disc and switch discs in the middle of the game, which you didn't normally have to do, but the computer could not handle it. Didn't have enough memory. So I'd be in the middle of a move and I'd have to switch discs.
Floppies?
The little 3-inch floppies for that one.
Oh, you were high tech.
I could be
Oh
mistaken.
man, you did high tech, man. You were like up there, buddy.
Oh, yeah. All right.
But
Playing
monochrome, I got
EverQuest-
really good at detecting what color the other game pieces were on that monochrome because it was very subtle.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Playing EverQuest 1, okay, and then having it update was bad enough because you're on dial-up. So you're like, all right, I'm not playing tonight. It's gonna update overnight. But when the first expansion came out, Kunark, it bricked the game for me because my video card couldn't handle it.
Yep.
So I had to go out and buy a video card, and whether I used Kunark or not made no difference. The update bricked my game for me. Oh,
Jeez.
man, I remember that. That was a long fucking night.
It was Gran Torino, Mr. Gunn. Rob Conley says, Dave Thompson, my class in 1984 was the last to be required to turn in our first project on punch card, and yes, I dropped the deck once, but only once. Wait a minute. I went in the Army in 1984. Damn! Rob, how old are you? You got to be 50, what, 5, 56? And Eric, I think you have to leave, sir. It is speakeasy time. You see, this is the thing. We have a good night going in chat, and Eric has to abandon his friend.
We never got around to discussing Rapham.
We will get to it.
Good night, folks.
Good night, Eric.
I'll
Thanks
be on
for
the
coming on,
Discord.
my friend.
For me, it's on that side.
Yep. All right. Good night.
Good night,
Mr.
folks.
Gunn says, did you at least number the cards? Rob, you are very welcome. Let's see here.
Did I just hear a reference to coding with punch cards?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was a couple years ago. Injun Joe says he was born in 1982. Technically, D&D was in its golden years. I caught the third wave 1995 for WotC Plot. You were born in 1982.
Wow.
Dude, I was in
I'm
junior
just
high in
impressed.
82.
I don't even
I
know
was
what
a
to say.
sophomore in high school in '82.
I'm just like sitting here going, wow, you were born in 1982. I'm like old. I'm like really old. Rob Conley, so a minor in disaster. Rob Conley says, Mr. Gunn, in a loss, eating, assorting, and debugging. Oh, how much debugging did we do in our lives?
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Fugly says, I have 8 terabyte for data and 10 terabyte for backup. Yes. It is pretty cool when, you know what scares me about all this, guys? You know, we all talk about terabyte now, but what are we going to be talking about 10 years from now?
Petabytes.
Wow.
At that point in time, you could literally say your computer is a pedo.
And by the way, Mr. Lake, Stephen Lake right here is a supervisor at Liquid Web. He actually is a tech support supervisor. So the man next to me really knows his shit when he talks, even though he talks a lot of shit.
So you're going to be able to call your computer a pedo.
Yes, you can.
That means there's a certain troll who's ahead of his time because he calls everybody a pedo.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Right on that 100% there. Huh?
He's just saying.
Don't you love it when it just all falls together?
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Gunn says, Don, you're a wise man. You should have multiple forms of backup in disaster. Hell yes. Because I'll tell you something. One of the worst things that can ever happen is, and this will always happen to me, and I stopped doing it because I kept getting screwing myself, is you get something done and you're all designed and it's beautiful, you love it, and something weird will happen, like the power of fluctuate or something, and you lose something you worked on for like 30 hours straight.
Yeah.
Save early and often.
Early and often. And what I like about Corel is I now have it, and it's set up to where Corel every 15 minutes will do a quick flash backup.
Yep.
So the worst I can do is lose my last 15 minutes of work.
Yep.
Don, screen. Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, no, mommy. I want my mommy now. I want my mommy. Not that I want my mommy, but you want your mommy in moments like that. Rob Conley says, oh, hell yeah. Those Hayes modems were the bomb. Yes, they were. We connected to the mainframe forum. School bought acoustic Kuplex. Yep. 56K dial-up. Remember that, guys? Rob Conley, cough. I play or Civ 4 sometimes. Civilization. You know what? I've never played the game. I've never played Civilization.
I played SimCity.
I played Empire by Sid Meier, which was Civilization before Civilization was Civilization, which was a monochrome game. And then I played 1, and I played the Activision one that he had to sue over, which was Civilization Call to Power, and then it just became Call to Power once the lawsuit settled. And 3 and 4, I've not played 5.
See, my big thing was Duke Nukem and Diablo. Duke Nukem and Diablo, man, the hours that and then when Eye of the Beholder came out, I don't know how many, and I'm not exaggerating here, how many thousands of hours I played that game.
Is Diablo the game where you're going around, and I think it's like set on Mars, and you're going around room shooting demons?
No, you're talking about, Steve, what was that game that you played a lot of? No, it was Doom is the one where you're on Mars, but you played another game that was like a third person, but you're battling like on a planet, a space alien.
You're battling demon. And you'd play.
I can't remember it right now.
You played for a long time, and then when you like stopped playing, you just felt weird, and it was like, I was like, that's it, I'm done. I can't do this anymore because it felt like it was making you weird. It was.
Thietis goes, I'm sitting on 80 gigabyte of RAM. Thietis, I'm sitting on 128 gig of RAM. So, and Thietis knows this, and Eric and Tom, you know this too. RAM is intensively important because I usually have 30 screens open. I'm running Photoshop along with Corel Draw, along with Video Studio. So RAM is a huge thing with me. A lot of people it's not because they don't have any need for it. Rob says, so I had a subscription to Genie and CompuServe, blast from the past,
Oh heck yeah!
but it was all a long distance. So what I did is hit the RPG file section, download the text, hang up, figure out what I wanted to, and download. I love it. RAM. Let's see here. Hold on a minute. Why am I repeating this? Holy cow. EverQuest. Someone actually plays EverQuest 1 still? Wow. Seriously, that's crazy. Civ 4 was the high tide mark. Civ 5 and the following are meh. Thyatus goes, and a 3.7 gigahertz processor with 6 cores. I am running.
Oh, who played Wolfenstein?
Oh, big time Wolfenstein.
That's an old school one.
Oh yeah,
man.
I played the old DOS one, and I just played that one to death.
Yeah, I went ahead and I really.
That boy, that brings back memories.
Wolfenstein's you know they have a new Wolfenstein out now.
Oh, I'm sure.
A couple of different versions of it. Yeah,
Semi new. It was put out a couple years ago.
if it's the online one, yeah, I played the heck out of that one.
Mr. Gunn says, EverQuest, are you one of two guys on the server? Engine Joe says, I'll show one of the old BBS message boards for Textiles D&D. It's amazing how much work they got. You know what I miss? I miss something. I miss Yahoo Chat. I miss the chat rooms, which, by the way, is basically what Discord is based off of. But I really miss the ability to do like a search for Michigan D&D. And all these Michigan D&D groups would come in, and you could engage people and talk to people and such. And
I miss Yahoo groups because my first play-by-post was a Yahoo group, and and when they deleted all that content was lost. And
you know what the funny thing is, my ex-wife, she really misses the Yahoo chat rooms because she could go in there and look for looking for Big Dick in Michigan. Looking for she was really good. I mean, she really found some real winners in that place. I'll tell you what. If it wasn't for Yahoo Chat, heck, man, what would she have done with all this? She'd have to do the Fidelity the old way, go hang out at bars and charge for it. Oh, wait a minute, she did. Silly me. Sorry, I digress. There aren't many of us around. Not many of us around. Rob Conley is 59. Rob, you don't look like a day over 30. Come on, man. I don't believe it. Text files, not text files. We got it, Engine Joe. I got it. I was just trying to read what you said. Mr. Gunn says, Dave Thompson, what do the youngsters play instead of EverQuest? I know it was WoW for a while, but what is it now? I think it's, isn't it now Call of Duty?
Yeah, Call of Duty is pretty big right now. For a while there, Eve was.
Eve Online was huge. Still is, I think, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, not as much as it used to be, but
Thyatus is throwing down a gauntlet, I think. He says, Don, you want to feel older? Yeah, please. I do. Fugi said, my wife in 1982. Thyatus goes, petabytes. Wow, petabytes. That's wow. Don't tell me. You can't be using petabyte drives. I don't even think they make those.
they don't make petabyte drives, but you can do a drive array that's over like 20 petabytes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you got to do an array though.
Yeah, you have to do it in a striped RAID to make it work.
Yeah. Fooey, did you meet here later too? Hectabytes. Engine Joe said. Fugly says 10 years from now we'll be back using stone knives and bear skins. You never know.
Well, I've started a fire by rubbing two sticks together, so I don't feel like I'm out of my element with that.
Sid Byers Pirates. I recreated the Wilderlands map and civilization. Mr. Gunn. See, Mr. Gunn, he's right. Diablo was great, and Diablo was really good. Rob says I was very disappointed when they went isometric maps in Civ 2, but Rob, you're a map guy. No, this is Doom. Doom is actually really good. B-17 Flame Fortress from Micropose, XCOM. Soda
XCOM.
running Windows 11. Mr.
Yeah,
Gunn, my new computer I have to. This is Windows 11 I'm on right now, and I'm getting used to it. It's different, but I see its appeal in certain ways. But in a lot of ways, I don't see it.
Yeah, XCOM though was a good game.
Yeah, XCOM was. Rob says 64 gigs of RAM for me. Yeah, and it's all what works for you. You know.
Ooh, Atari 2600.
Oh
I
yeah,
got mine still. Woo-hoo!
All the
I'll tell
games
you
are
what.
still upstairs in the attic.
You know what? How can you not beat Pac-Man for the Atari 2600, which absolutely looks like shit, plays like shit, sounds like shit, is utter shit, but there's a nostalgia to it.
Space Invaders was my game.
Oh man, I love space. Oh, I'll tell you one I really liked, and maybe we get off on kind of a cross subject now a little bit here, but okay, new topic here. Growing up at the arcade, we all went to them. I'll tell you something that I really liked is I liked when it came to D&D or D&D arcades. I love Space Invaders, but also, man, I forget the name of the damn game. It started with the D.
Galaga?
No, it's where you're going back and forth in a ship shooting things.
Galaga.
No,
no, it's not Galaga. It's the one where the Space Invaders.
no, it's the ship that you're going back. You can move back and forth, and things are dropping on you, dropping bombs on you, and
That was the one with the World War II fighters.
no. This is futuristic.
How about Spy Hunter? Remember Spy Hunter?
Spy Hunter was really cool, but I'll tell you a couple of games I really liked. I liked Galaga, Centipede. I love Galaga and Centipede.
Joust.
Joust was
Joust.
awesome.
Loved that. I wasted so much lawnmowing money on Joust.
Yes. Lunar Lander.
Mm-hmm.
And Gauntlet.
Tempest.
Gauntlet, yes.
Okay. Gauntlet is my all-time arcade game. And does anybody ever hear of the mini arcades they're making now? The little mini arcade games?
Yeah.
You can buy? They make one with Gauntlet, and I can't find it. I cannot find it. It's got the good ones. It's got Galaga on it, and it's got Gauntlet, and it's got Centipede and Space Invaders on it.
Oh, jeez.
Along with like 4 or 5 others. And they're only like $300 for it.
Wow.
Huh.
But I try to find them online. I cannot find them. Zaxxon was absolutely cool. Battlezone, Missile Command, Defender. That's what it was. Fugly, thank you. Defender. Defender was the schnizzle. Asteroids was really cool. Gauntlet was just it. I did not like, and I don't know why, I did not care for it. It was the game with the dragon, and you had to time everything just right. You're playing the guy with the sword, and you got to rescue the girl.
Oh yeah, and it was done off of a laser disc, wasn't it?
Yeah. What was that game called, Steve? Do you remember?
I don't know. Let me check. I can find out real fast here.
John Peck. No, I was not talking about Vanguard. I'm actually talking about Defender. Just the ability to go and go back and forth. Real cool. Dragon Slayer was one, but Indian Joe says Dungeons and Dragons: Tower of Doom by Capcom used to play at Aladdin's Castle. Scott Mulder, Galaga, Gauntlet, Tron, and Space Ace. Oh my God, those are so good freaking games. hold on a minute. Dragon Slayer. It's not Dragon Slayer, I don't think. Dragon's Lair.
Dragon's Lair, yeah.
Dragon's Lair. That's what it was.
Mhm.
You know, I'm gonna tell you, talking about some good stuff. Dragon's Lair, yeah. Injun Joe, thank you. Rob Conley, Tempest was my jam. I loved Tempest. I just really liked the whole concept of it. You know,
Oh, going back to the DOS days, do you guys remember Load Runner?
who?
Load Runner?
Maybe if I saw it. What was it about?
It was this like little stick figure that ran around, and he basically had to drill holes through the floor to jump down and capture all these little like jewels, and he was getting chased by these guys that if you touched him, you died.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah. Also, I'll tell you another one that was really good. You got the little Robotron.
Yes.
I loved Robotron. Thousands and thousands and thousands and millions of dollars of my quarters went into that.
Well, back
Yeah.
when like when Terminator came out, I mean, I just about went bankrupt on my army income playing the stupid Terminator arcade game. Oh man, it's like oh, I was having so much darn fun with that. I'd walk in there with a $10 roll of quarters and walk out broke.
And I'll tell you another one, the Star Wars, but the sit-down version when you sat down in it.
Oh yeah,
And you had to go through the Death Star and all that. Oh man.
they have one similar to that over at Marvin's Marvelous Mechanical Museum in Detroit. I don't think it's that exact game, but it is one of the main Star Wars arcade games.
I just miss. And do you guys all remember you had to put your quarter up on the edge of the monitor?
Yes.
You're next.
Yes. Yep. Oh, younger generation has no idea.
They don't have any idea. I remember at 16 years old sitting there with a cigarette in my mouth playing a video game, and then some asshole would put his quarter up there, and I'd be like, man, come on, dude. Not reserved. You took the spot. So, but guys, it is going on 9:30, folks.
Mhm.
We have been online here reminiscing with the good folk of the internet now for an hour and 17 minutes.
We didn't cover the topic. We didn't cover mail.
Guess what? It's the way it is. We'll save mail for next week. How's that?
All right. Yeah, I hear we have some good ones.
We got some good ones coming. So,
Even one
Steve,
apparently
Tom-
addressed to DOS.
yes, evidently DOS is a thing. We'll figure it out.
I don't know who DOS is, so but
We'll figure it out, won't we?
Yeah.
Yes, there was a Star Trek video game too. Yes, and Mr. Cotton, the Elkiantia, you died of dysentery. We all know what that.
Yes.
Yes, we do. And remember, it was the TSR-80 you died on too.
Mhm.
Every school had the TSR-80 back then.
Oh
So-
yeah.
But gentlemen, thank you for tonight. Thank you for coming on. And everybody in chat and comments, thank you very much for coming on and making this a really lively chat. We had a good time tonight. How about you guys?
Oh yeah.
Good.
see
So,
most of you tomorrow night.
yeah, tomorrow night we will be there. I guess,
Random party generator, I think.
yeah, random party generator. And I'll definitely be wearing clean underwear for everybody. And wait a minute. Should I do like Bad Mike's brother and show up in the sparkly red thong? And
No, please spare us.
oh, you want me to wear the green one, don't you?
I don't wear any thongs.
I'll spare everybody that because I'll tell you what, I think I'd make myself want to throw up on screen. Hey, you gotta look at it every day. You gotta get tired of it, right? So, guys, thank you. Have a good night. Everybody in chat, thank you very much, and we will talk to you guys later.